Hello and welcome back to ACC League Tools for WordPress. In this video I'm going to work through the process of creating championships or a championship and the events they comprise. So to get started, we can either click straight on Add Championship if we know we don't that's what we're doing, or we can go into the championships list and click the Add button. Both will take you to the same place. The key difference is doing it from so we can click on Add, and then the minimum we need to do is to provide it with a name. So I'll just take something rubbish on here because I'm going to throw this all away eventually. And then we click on, we have to provide a start date for the championship. So we can click a date there. Let's go with 26th of November. And we can then, well, an option we have here is to choose a banner image. Now, banner images are displayed on the tiles. So if I'm looking here at the list of championships on our demo site, and each tile shows this image at the top. We provide a bunch of example ones with the site, and if you don't provide your own, you don't choose one explicitly, then we're going to randomly display one of the, I think it's half a dozen that we include. So you can choose an image, you can create one yourself. Make a note over here, it will be resized to 300 by 169 pixels. That's so that it fits nicely into that header portion on the tile. So if you do create your own images, you need to make sure that the proportions of height to width are the same as 300 versus 169 and that's a 16 by 9, I think it is, type of relationship, similar to screens. But make sure that you try it out at that size to make sure that it isn't going to distort in any way at all. So you can just choose a file, and then when you click Save Changes, it will be uploaded. If not, a random one will be chosen. You can activate the event straight away, or you can leave that till later. The idea being that you can slowly build the event over a few days and then publish it, or build it several weeks in advance if you like, and then publish it at the time that is appropriate. I'm going to make mine active straight away, so click Save Changes, and as if by magic, a number of other tabs will appear that allow you to continue setting up this championship. So the first thing we have here are classes. So we support multiple class events. So a class is a combination of a car class and a driver category. And the best way to show you how that works is to actually create one. So let's create a class in here. I've done some of this before, so I've got some names. So let's create a GT3 Pro class. So that means choosing the car class. GT3 is the default, but you can also choose GT4, GTC, which is Porsche Cup, Lamborghini Super Trofeo, those sorts of events, or TCX, which is the BMW CS Sport that was added recently. And then a driver category. So ACC has 4 driver categories: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, and you can map one of those to to a car class, and then the combination of that car class and driver category will produce, first of all, it will be used when we create the entry lists during generation of configuration files, and then when you import the results, the combination will be used to map the driver to the correct class, or the driver's results to the correct class, so that we display their results in the correct table and results pages. And then finally you have to choose a scoring set. It will default to the first one that you've defined. If you've defined more than one, they will be listed here, but now perhaps you can see why we recommended creating the scoring sets beforehand, because if you get to here and you don't have a scoring set, you're going to have to cancel out of it and then come back and do it later. So click Save and go back to our classes table, and there we've got our GT3 Pro, which we can edit if we want to from here. Or we can add another one. So let's go with GT3 AM, and for that we can choose, let's say, gold for the category. It doesn't really matter as long as there's two different categories in there, so that we've got a mapping. I'll save that one, go back to here, and I have a feeling, no I didn't. Oh yeah, so I've got them the wrong way around, but again, it just kind of demonstrates it doesn't matter what you do, as long as they're different. And you will be told if you try to create a class where you have the same combination of car and driver category, it will tell you you can't do that, you've already done it, please create another class. But yeah, ideally I would have had bronze for amateur and gold for pro, but I could go back and edit that, but I won't bore you. The next tab allows you to set up the championship specific rules. So if you watch the previous videos, you'll have seen we can create rules at the league or community level, which can be a global set of rules. It might be that we have some rules in there that we want to override just for this championship. We can put those in here. Or maybe we want to keep the global league rules just for things like behavior and what it means to be a member and all of that sort of thing. And then for the championship, provide the actual specific rules for that in here. They're optional. If you leave it blank, then when a member is joining the championship, they won't be prompted to accept any rules. But if you populate this, then when they join a championship, they will be asked to accept the championship rules. So I'm going to leave that one blank for now. I'm going to skip over events, but this table would show you a list of the events, and I'll come back to that at the end. ACC settings allows you to configure the kind of top level parts of that will be applied to all events in this championship. Essentially, they're server level configuration, but they're not always going to be the same on every server, every time you use the server, such as the ones that you configured down here under servers. These are server level events, but they are ones that can change from championship or event to event. So the first thing you do is choose a server, and you can see it's listing the two that I created. Again, this could be done later. It's not required to create the event here, but as we said at the time of showing you about how to create servers, it's best if you set those up initially. By default, when we generate the configuration files, the server name will be shown as championship, as league, championship, and event, or league and event for standalone events. If you want to use a different format or a specific display name other than our generated one, you can put that in here. If you leave it blank, we will generate it. The rest of these are things that configure the server level for the event, as I said. So if you do have any track medal requirements, so if you require anyone joining the server to have at least 3 track medals or 3 medals for that track for the event, then you can choose that in here. If you require them to have a minimum safety rating, you can put that value in here. So this is the SA rating built into ACC. Similarly, there is an RC or racecraft rating built into ACC. If you have a minimum requirement for that, you can enter that here. Max car slots is the number of drivers that can enter, essentially, or can connect. And you may remember when we were setting up servers, you can actually set a maximum number of connections. This is the number of drivers. The number of connections allows for other people to connect as spectators or administrators or whatever. And then the rest of this is configuring the behavior of the server. So allow auto DQ. Can the server automatically disqualify somebody if they get a severe enough penalty or enough penalties? do we want to use a short formation lap or a full formation lap? This list controls the UI that is displayed during the formation lap. Generally, you'll want to leave this as it is. There's a option for a free manual start, which is basically no UI, or the old time limiter version that ACC used to provide. So generally you'll want to leave it like this. And this is the one that shows that little UI in the middle of the screen that's trying to help you keep in place as you're going around the lap and tells you whether to go forward, back, or will teleport you if you get too far out of position. And then the remainder of these are options for the assists that the users or drivers are allowed to use. These are the defaults. You can override those. So maximum stability control is a percentage, so it can go from anywhere from 0 to 100% if you want to allow them to use that. You can disable auto clutching, auto engine start, auto gear, auto lights, auto pit limiter, auto steer. You more than likely want to turn that one on and forcing people to steer on their own, but it's entirely up to you. These are the assists that you can configure in the app, in the game yourself, but you can also configure them on the server level here. So then we can save those changes. The last two tabs are read-only. So once people enter the event or join the championship from the website using buttons that are provided on here, if they're logged in, then they will be listed here. So it means you can see them from the admin site. You don't have to go to the actual site to see them. And similarly, standings. Once you've uploaded results for events, at least one set of results for a race session within an event, then these standings will be populated, and you'll get a table for each car class or each class that you've defined over here. So those are the settings other than events. So from the events tab here, you can click add, and that will take you into the event details page to define your event. So we can just go in here and again put some junk. I won't bore you watching me do anything special there. The key things are you have to choose, as well as giving it a name and a description, you have to choose the track. So you can choose from the list of tracks that are supported by ACC, a start date for the event, and then a start time. And the start time should be obviously the start of the first session. So let's go for something like, where are we? We've got, there we go, let's make it 1 o'clock. Same thing applies here for banners. So each event on the website itself, if I go into here, they have a very similar banner image, and same thing applies with regards to defaults. If you don't choose one from here, then we will randomly select one each time the event is shown, and we can activate the event here. So again, if you're not finished, you haven't set up all the classes or anything, all the sessions that you'll need to set up, then you can leave this off, but I'll activate it now, and we save that. That's saved and should be appearing in here. And so if we go back into it, we get all the other tabs that we can see. What we also get though is a bit of help to remind you of things that you might that you would want to do. So a list of tasks basically that need to be completed, or a list of actions that need to be taken by somebody before this event is actually ready to be run on a server. So you can change any of these details that are shown here, your banner image if you wish. Classes will be inherited from the championship, so you won't be able to add or edit them from here. You need to go back to the championship to do that. Sessions allows you to define the sessions that you've got. So race, qualifying, practice, qualifying, and race sessions that need to be done. You need to define at least one, which is why it mentions that up here. At least one race session must be defined. That's a requirement of ACC, not of us. So you can click on add, choose the type of it. So typically you'll have a practice session. Choose what day of the week it's being run on. This is not a calendar day, obviously. This is the day of the week within ACC, so typically practice on Friday, what time of day that is set for within the app, and the duration of it, and in minutes, and then a time multiplier. So if it's a long endurance event, you might have a higher multiplier, but we default to 1. We save those changes, go back to the event, and that's listed here. So we can go and add another one, and this one would be our qualifying session, which we'll do on Saturday at around 12 o'clock. And we'll leave those defaults, save that one. And then finally, you'll need to go and add a race session. And I'm just going to accept the defaults that are on there. So that's our event set up, and you can see now that the option for letting that go has the option for a task that has to be carried out has gone away. We also have a rules tab here, so this applies with the same as championship rules. If you want to override any championship rules or league rules that you've set, or you want a specific set of rules for this event, you can put them in here, and when the user joins the event, they will be asked to accept these rules. ACC settings are the settings that are event specific, but they will have been inherited from the championship. That should have been inherited from the championship. So you can override them here. So if one event you want to have things slightly different within a championship, you can configure those. That's these things up to and including this formation lap type. The ones that follow that are the event-specific ones, the ones that need to be set up for each event. So session overtime, how long it'll allow the session to run once the official time is finished. Same for post-quali. So these are times that you can put in. I'm sure you've seen them in the game where you've got these kind of time where you just have to sit there on the grid, or you sit there at the end of a session waiting for everybody to finish. Those are those times. You can set the weather settings in here, so ambient temperature, cloud level, rain, weather randomness. To fully understand these, you'll need to read the server admin guide, which you can get from their forum, or it's also within the folder system of your ACC server if you download that. So you've got some things about pit stop rules here, so whether a pit stop is required, whether they can refuel even if there isn't a pit stop required, what the pit stop lengths are, and so on. And then down here you can override those assist rules. Again, these will be inherited from the championship. And then one final piece here, any additional metadata. So when ACC generates the results, it can pass you back some custom information that you might want to include in there. We do actually put some information in there anyway. This is over and above that and will be added to the information that we embed and we use. So you can save those changes here. And then down the bottom, you have the option to generate files. If we click on this button here, this will generate the configuration files you'll need to set up this event on your server. So you'll have the configuration.json. If it's a hosted server, you won't actually see these. It will just give you a message saying that that's not being generated because of the because you said it's hosted, and therefore you won't be allowed to change it. The settings file, so you can see here from where we've set things up in both the championship and the event, what will be generated. So we show it in a table format with an explanation and then the JSON format. The event JSON is there, and so this shows again the settings that are event specific and the sessions, and they all have to go in that one file. And the event rules, so these are things like your pit stop rules and so on. They go into a file with that name. The assist rules is where we pull all of that information about the assists and generate that for you. And then finally the entry list, Obviously, we haven't got any entrants at this point, which is one of the warnings we were getting at on the general tab. But we can see what we're going to get, what the files are going to show, to make sure we check those, and if we need to go back to the event to reconfigure anything, you can do that. And then finally, once you're ready, you can click download zip. And then that will download the zip file with those configuration files to your local machine, where you can unpack it, then upload to your server or copy across into your local server, put them wherever you need to put them. So we go back to the event there. So the only thing that's left now, because I chose the server there, which, as I say, should have been inherited from the championship. I need to fix that. The only thing we need that's outstanding now for this to be ready is for somebody to go and join that event, that championship, from the website. So you can see now the championship is, or the first event is showing up here, and you can join the championship from here, or your members can join the championship from here. When you join a championship, you have to go through the process of selecting your class. So we'll select GT3 AM. Then, because we've chosen a class here, you then have to choose the car that you're going to run. I'm going to run that one. And this is where the rules come in. So if you've defined rules at the league level, at the championship level, and the event level, you'll get 3 of these checkboxes to accept, that you have to accept. Once you've accepted those, you click on join, and then you can join the event, and it takes you to the event page, where you can see now the join button has turned into a withdraw, and I'm being shown up on the the entrance page. Similarly, if I go back to the event details, I can click, actually these will be shown at the championship level, because this is an event from the championship. Okay, of course my name isn't in there because I'm using my admin account. That was also why the race number is missing. But if this is done by a proper member who's signed in and registered, including yourselves, registered properly through the website, then that will show their details. And so that's championships. That's how you set up championships and the events for championships. Next, I want to look at standalone events. So the key difference between a standalone event and a championship, which you may have heard me mention in other videos, is that the event is not tied to a championship. So you have to, so for example, between seasons, if you have championships and then you have a couple of weeks in between them starting, or seasons as they're sometimes called, and you want to still run some fun events, you can do that without defining a championship. You can define what we call a standalone event. And again, you can do that from here, either add button here, or you can go to add event. Now in this case, the first thing you have to do is choose a championship. So because we're not adding it from a championship, we don't know at this point whether you want it to be part of a championship. If you do, you can select from this list. But if not, you can just click continue. And that's the key difference between a standalone event and a championship event, the fact that we have not set a championship. We click continue, and then the rest of this is really the same. We can just put some stuff in here, choose the track, a start date, and a start time. Everything else about this is the same. And we can activate, save that, go into here, and you'll have the same features and capabilities here, same warning of tasks that need to be performed. So you can create classes exactly the same as we did when we were looking at the championships. The only difference here is we have results on a standalone event rather than standings. So when it's a championship event, there are no the results get collated up into the standings for the championship, With a standalone event, obviously it's a one-off thing, so you just get the results on there, and entrants are shown as well. Same settings. Nothing's obviously inherited here. You're setting it up from scratch. Same with rules and sessions. All of that is exactly the same. So we'll go back to events. And one last thing I want to look at with events is with regards to the classes. Actually, I can do it in that standalone event. So what we can do here is make this, instead of a multi-class event, let's say we want this to be a one-off event for the Porsche Cup. We can add a class in here, and let's just call it P Cup, and select is single class, and then now I can go and choose any car from the list that's supported. Obviously I've called it Porsche Cup, so I want to select Porsche Cup, but we're not limiting you to the GTC type cars. You can create single car events for any car, and then that's that car. You choose the driver category. If you're only having one car, then the driver category doesn't really matter for the class. Again, you have to choose a scoring set, but when you click save, that standalone event now is a single car event that only has the one, or it has a session, a class, which is a single car class. You could put another single car class in here. You could potentially mix multi-class and single car class, or multi-car class and single car class, but it's probably not going to be a good idea. But we don't do anything to stop you doing that. And with that, I think we're pretty much covered creating championships and events of various types with the classes, rules, and sessions. I hope that's been helpful, and thanks for watching.